when it comes to stuff like racism and black people, one thing that I want a lot of black Americans to understand, this is in truth, most white people really don't care about you, your life, or what you're doing. They just want to be left alone to theirs. A good majority of them don't even have a lot of experiences around black people. But it's funny that when I see it's a lot of black people I see that get online and they'll talk about how racist the country is and how white people don't want to be around black people, XYZ. And then I tell them, I say, the truth be told about a good majority of white people is it's not that they don't want to be around black people. They don't want to be around the same black people that you don't want to be around. You see these people that move, they put their children in different schools, they go to other areas, they avoid areas at night, they don't hang in certain places because they feel a certain way about them same kind of black people. But they feel it's like when I was younger and people would say something derogatory about a family member, but then they would say, well, I can say that, but you can't because we're family. It's like, no, you can't. But that's the mentality that we have. And then what's crazy is that I look at a lot of these people and I see their children in their friend groups. And when they post photos, and their children have a lot of white friends, some of them only primarily hang around white kids. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying for someone that speaks so much about racism and white people this and white people that, you would think that they would not let their children be around white people. You would think that their children would not have white friends. So I said, oh, those must be the good ones then, I guess, in your mentality. These are good white people. How can you blame them for not wanting to be around the same type of people that you don't want to be around? What I also realize is that we make up such a small percentage of the population, and so many white people do not have direct experience with black people. They get a lot of their information from the internet and from TV and media, and it influences the way you think. It influences stereotypes. There have been psychological studies on this. There's documentation out there about how the media and entertainment can help shape and perpetuate stereotypes. So then when these people that have little to no experience around black people come in contact with us, of course, some of them might be a little standoffish because they're unfamiliar, not because they're racist, but they're unfamiliar. They know what they've seen, but they don't have any direct experience. So you have to proceed with caution. The same way I would if I went to a predominantly white area and I've heard certain things about these areas and I haven't had any experience to verify for myself what it is. I proceed with caution. When I've gone to some areas where they call sundown towns because of my work, I proceed with caution. And I go in with a sense of awareness about myself. I'm on edge a little bit. I have to admit that. Not because of anything they've actually done to me, but my perceptions going into that area. And then when you see people that might fit a certain bill, let's just take, for example, when Columbine happened. Anytime you saw a white person that fit that bill with the trench coat and the typical loner look and stuff like that, you avoided them. Not just black people, white people avoided them too. They didn't want to be around them. So that's how a lot of this goes. But when you get online and you keep pushing these narratives and making it seem like everything's about race, then that's what it's going to be because you're looking through the lens of racism. So you're anticipating for something to be about race. And unfortunately, whenever something happens and the difference between the two parties is race, that's the first thing people look at. And then they say, well, that must be the issue. That must be the cause. Obviously, it's race. But how can you get mad at people for not being around the same people that you don't want to be around? And I ask them questions. I say, well, why don't you live here? Well, why don't your kids go to this school? Uh, 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 because you wanted something better, and you couldn't find something better in a black neighborhood or area that's predominantly black. Why do your kids get to hang around all these white kids and whatever else, but you're speaking as if they're the devil? Like you have conflicting beliefs, you have conflicting mindsets, but they don't want to admit it. And I say, hey, that's all fine and good, but when you get on social media, you got to be careful what you put out there. We can't jump in 2026 and say, I can't believe racism is still a thing, and then don't acknowledge how we help push that and how we ourselves are still involved and heavily indulged in all things race. and racism. Another thing is not understanding the part that we play in it. And yes, we can play a part. As many black people out there would like to believe that we cannot be racist, uh, that's just wrong in a lot of different aspects. Yes, you can be. Okay. So, what I want you to do from now on is to really think about yourself and your relationship with your own people. And I think sometimes people that internally feel a way about other black people because they act like it. They might not say it, but your actions show you move away from, you try to avoid certain areas, you only go to certain kind of hangouts. You do not want to feel guilty about the way that you feel about your own people. So you project that onto someone else and you try to make them the devil and you try to make them the enemy. And the reality is, the two of you actually have the same mindset. The only difference is you're black and they're not. So you feel like you're justified and you feel like they can't be justified.
The truth does not require you to like nor accept it. It can be tough and uncomfortable, existing on its own merit, independent of your feelings and residing outside the frameworks of your mind. For some, the truth is freedom, and to others, confinement.